Yeah. I think my biggest thing is like my tradition of Christianity is the only true way. I just disagree with that statement. I think it limits a lot. It's like, so God only spoke, like His word, even the things that you put together, like His word is not sufficient enough. It has to be through the church
Okay.
tradition.
So what would you say? And this is just me giving pushback because I don't
Yeah.
believe in that stuff either
Yeah.
as of right now. But let's say, for example, like somebody like Arius, right? It was dogmatized at the Council of Nicaea that if you hold this position, you are excommunicated. But if you held that position before, you weren't necessarily like excommunicated because it wasn't dogmatized yet. You know what I mean? So what do you think?
And I respect that. It doesn't mean he wasn't wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think, I think that he was wrong in the way, in his theology. Just because no one corrected him doesn't mean he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
So it's not that the dogmatizing is wrong. It's that when you make a dogma the only standard, like I think Arius was just wrong. Like he was reading the scriptures, trying to figure it out and stuff. I don't know if that answers your question.
Now, more what I was asking was like, why does dogmatizing something later, like that we just taught it and then dogmatized it later? Why is that wrong?
It's not that it's wrong. It's just dogma itself. You're saying if you don't hold to this, you're outside the church. I think that is wrong. Personally,
like for that belief.
Yeah, like you could believe it individually. Like if this church believes in the sonship of Mary, it's fine. But now you're dogmatizing and saying that if you don't believe it, you're wrong.
You think that's wrong for that specific belief, not necessarily for any other belief? Like, because for like Arianism, like obviously that's
if you're interpreting scripture completely wrong, with the wrong bias, and you're just saying John 1 is nothing. And all churches is nothing. Even up to the point of Irenaeus, which is 300. I mean, like that's not even a majority position. No one really held that position. That's why when he brought it up, there was so much contention.
Arius. Nah, that's a fact. My thing with like this is something that obviously I tell Tariq that I struggle with this all the time. Like I kind of be like for me, like we're obviously right about a lot of things in the scripture, but my thing is just like the justification behind it. That's like the constant thing I'm struggling with. Because there's times where I read the scripture and I'm like, this is so clear. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's obvious that Jesus is God. This is obvious. But there's people who read the scriptures and whether through being disingenuous, whether through like a spirit of evil, whatever, they come to different conclusions. So it's like, are they as justified as me in the interpretation? You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm right, but what do you think about that? Because this one we spoke about the other day.
And I think that when it comes to justification, like even if they have the same justification, if they're still wrong, they're wrong. You know, like if I'm reading the Bible and someone's reading the Bible saying that Jesus is not even the Son of God, but it's in the scriptures, and he just read like all things were created through him and said that doesn't mean he's the Son, but it's there. So they're wrong regardless of their justification. The one thing I do say is like we have to major on the majors and minor on the minors. So nowhere in scripture do we see a proof that Jesus is not divine. Like it's not there. You have to really dive in and say like, no, this is true, but it's minor. Like no one in church history really held those positions. So I think we have to major on what the church majored in and minor on what the church minored.
Okay. So what church? Nah.
No, it's a good question. But when I say church, I just mean Orthodoxy in general. So holding to the tenets of the faith, the Trinity, Jesus being God, the authority of Scripture.
Okay. And I think, and this is something that we both wrestle with as like evangelicals. So this is not like me just trying to like drill him. We do this all the time.
Every day.
Literally. Because I'm the one with the questions. Like as far as like I'm the one really wrestling in my head. But
questioning is like there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like there's like a lot of people stray away from church in general because they have questions that no one will answer.
Yeah.
And so I think one thing the Catholic Church does well is that they have answers for things. Like they really dig deep into why they believe what they believe. And so I kind of respect that. Like I wish we do not. I wouldn't say as evangelicals as much, but Protestants do the same thing.
Yeah, they do.
Presbyterians go pretty hard. And
they do.
Breaking down. The Orthodox Church goes pretty hard.
They do.
There's certain aspects like the hypostatic union. What is it called? The filioque. Like, those things are like the reason they have so much contention. They're going so deep because they really believe it. So.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a fact, bro. And I really respect every Christian tradition. Like, I think that for me, like, the reason why I see like non-denominational and or evangelical, which I am an evangelical, we are. So I'm coming at my own tradition as of right now. But the reason that I like see it as like just not helpful is because of how ahistorical it is. You know what I mean? Like if you ask 90% of non-denominational evangelical, and I feel like I can say this because I've experienced and I'm part of the church of non-denominational evangelical. I feel like they will not know anything about church history, or they're just in a vacuum, kind of. You know what I mean? Like they think that their version of Christianity is like the most truest form of Christianity, and I just don't think that's helpful or true. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like, could you say the same thing about Orthodox or Catholic, Protestant? Because they, maybe not a Protestant. Oh yeah, Protestant. They all spheres of Christianity believe that.
Yeah,
So
but I think that at least they have more justification. Like a Protestant can argue, we came from the Catholic Church. We're the true Catholic Church because we tried to reform because they strayed away, and we could prove it through scripture and tradition.
Yeah.
When will you ever hear a non-denominational person say, I can prove through scripture and tradition that we are the church that Jesus Christ established? You know what I mean?
Sean hasn't done that though. He's done a good job with Acts was it Acts 2 and the Bereans, like testing the scripture, like the Bereans tested the scripture by looking at it. I think my biggest thing is like, I don't know if there's like my tradition of Christianity is the only true way. I just disagree with that statement. I think it limits a lot. It's like, so God only spoke like His word, even the things that you put together, like His word is not sufficient enough. It has to be through the church tradition. I think that's just tough to us. Because what I was telling Shandi was that coming to the conclusion that Jesus is Lord and God is supernatural. And I justified that through John 3, where he's talking to Nicodemus and the spiritual rebirth. And in John 3, he's referring to Ezekiel 38, where it's like, create in me a new heart, new spirit. So like, I think like that experience itself is supernatural. And I don't really see any other tradition besides Orthodox, big Orthodox, Catholic, Protestant, evangelical that even come to that conclusion. Everyone else denies that. So I think like that is extremely significant. So that's why I'm like, if you have the correct Jesus, that's a primary doctrine, and your secondary doctrines are what we can question. But the fact that they have the right foundation is significant.